Can you guess what we're doing today? So the ultimate test is gonna be weight. Also, before I forget, we have 400 hours later. Weren't expecting it. Weren't expecting it.
It's 100% my fault because
And ate the whole thing. This is a rare occasion. You have a genuine howling party. Let's go investigate.
Baby, don't you understand that we only get one life? I wanna make it count, honey. Come on now and take my hand.
Guess what we're doing today? We're gonna be pouring another concrete slab today. I think there was a little bit of confusion in our last video in the comments. A lot of people thought that the concrete was gonna be for the girls. Their run isn't gonna be concrete. Their house isn't even gonna be concrete. The slab is just going to be there for their house to sit on top of. It's going to be raised and we're gonna have storage underneath. So the girls will never really come into concrete. And to be honest, I don't know what we're gonna do for their run. We're still doing a little bit more research on it. But yes, another concrete slab. Let's do it. Here's the kicker. We're gonna be wet pouring it instead of dry pouring it like we did with the slab up there. It is no secret that dry pour concrete has been trending all over YouTube right now because of Lydia and Jim, and so there's not really a whole lot of information right now on there on dry pour versus wet pour, so I figured this would be a great video to do since we are wet pouring, give you a little update on our dry pour and how it turned out and how it withstands weight, and then show you the wet pour process so you can kind of see what works best for you. There's a few reasons why we're doing this, and I'm gonna let Cody explain because that's more his forte, but I did wanna give y'all an update on this slab. So if you remember correctly, and I'll tag the video right here, we built the frame, we put in rock, poured in some just dry concrete mix, and then we used chicken wire to give it something to hold on to, put more concrete. Then we wet it down over a period of time to let the water fully seep in so it could set nice and good. Well, it's been quite a while, so I figured we'd give her the old test and drive on it so we can show y'all how strong it actually is. As you can see, there's absolutely no cracking, no chipping. It's held up really, really nicely. So the ultimate test is gonna be weight. Now, of course, I'm always going to say do things at your own risk and what you're comfortable with, but this is a pretty heavy Jeep and there's no cracking and there's no chipping. So I'd say it's pretty good.
Whether you're doing a dry pour slab or a wet pour slab, regardless, your prep is pretty much going to be all the same. So we started by leveling out the ground, and then we built our frame for the size of the slab that we wanted to pour. And then after compacting the ground, we went ahead and put gravel in and made sure it was all nice and flat and compact as well. If you want more detail on how to actually prep everything for the slab, make sure you go check out our dry pour video because Summer went into pretty good detail going over everything in that video. But now that we have our prep done, let's get to pouring. We love to go by the, what is it, expression, I guess, work smarter, not harder. So instead of filling up buckets and moving them over, we're just gonna put the mixer where we're doing the slab. In the middle, like pull it out.
The most obvious difference in dry pour versus wet pour is wet pour, you also need a concrete vibrator, super important. So when we did our dry pour concrete, we used a 2x4, shimmied it back and forth, and that allowed a lot of that fine powder to work its way up to the top. When you're doing wet pour, the concrete vibrator is going to give you that same effect. All of the air bubbles are working their way up to the top, so you don't have a whole bunch of air pockets within your concrete. And so whereas Cody likes doing a wet pour because he has these materials, he's strong, he knows what he's doing, I enjoy doing the dry pour because as a just single female doing a project solo on her own, I don't want to have to drag out all of these materials, and if you at home don't have these materials, then a dry pour might be something to look into. But I'm gonna let Cody take it away from here because wet pour is all of his forte.
So the main reason that we want to do a wet pour for this is because we want the slab to be as strong as possible. Since it's going to have the weight of the chicken coop on top of it, and the chicken coop's going to be actually secured to it, not only do we want it to be able to support the weight of the chicken coop, but if there's ever any heavy storms or anything like that, we also want the coop to be secured to the ground. That way it doesn't get blown away. I like to start with putting a little bit of water at the bottom of the mixer. It kind of helps from all the concrete clumping up while you're mixing it. Helps it from sticking to the actual mixer itself. And then I'll typically turn it on. The mixer didn't like spinning that way, so we just went ahead and flipped it around real quick. But anyway, we start by turning it on. Then I like adding water while it's mixing. That way I can watch it mix up and make sure it doesn't get too wet. And then whenever I do add water, I like to spray it up at the top of the barrel instead of directly at the concrete. That way it kind of helps wash the barrel off too and keeps the concrete from just sticking to it. Since we're running this with an extension cord on our Blue Eddy instead of the generator, we're just going to do one bag at a time. That way we don't overwork it. Oh, I shouldn't be wearing these shoes.
No, you shouldn't be.
One bag down. I think like 15 to go or something like that.
Also, before I forget, we always get comments on Cody's shirt. My best friend, her name's Kat. She owns a t-shirt shop. I'll leave all of her information below. These are words to live by, people. We always get comments on where he gets his shirts from because majority of them are from Kat. And so yeah, I'll leave her shop below. Go check her out. I love her. Send her some love. She's just freaking awesome. I love Kat. Okay, go check out her shop.
And then after each bag of concrete comes out of the mixer, I like to spray the mixer down with water a little bit and just let it run with water in it. It works really good to help the concrete from being able to stick to the side of the mixer, so that way over time you don't end up with a ton of concrete buildup and stuff like that.
Will you go give me a liquid IV, please?
Yes, sir.
Not sponsored, but we love Liquid IV, and I'm pretty sure Summer has a discount code, so make sure you look for that in the description if you want to get some. Move it back and forth. Like we mentioned earlier, you always want to make sure you vibrate your concrete whenever you're wet pouring it. It helps to let the concrete settle and get all the air bubbles out and rise to the surface, and overall just gives you a lot stronger slab. So I know I need to add a couple more bags of concrete, but first I'm going to go ahead and vibrate it just a little bit to get all the concrete to settle a little bit, and so I can see about how much more I need. Hopefully, this is the last bag of concrete. Trying to spread out the rest of the concrete and get it nice and level.
By using the edging tool, he's getting us nice, clean, crisp lines. Looking real good, baby.
Thank you. A good easy way to smooth your concrete out and finish it is just take yourself a little 2x4 and move it along the top while you're kind of shimmying it like this, and it'll help everything to settle and help all that water to come to the top.
Looks real smooth.
Getting there.
I personally think it looks fantastic, and he doesn't even need to smooth it out, and he's just being a slight bit anal, but tell them.
But we still have to build a shop. Oh, there you are. But we still have to build a shop at some point. So I've never really done a perfectly smooth concrete slab, so may as well practice.
Yeah, practice makes perfect. 400 hours later.
Alright, that's good enough. I'm done. I don't care anymore.
I think it looks freaking good,
My back
babe.
hurts. Thank you.
It looks really good. Like, I was not expecting it to be this smooth. It looks super, super good. I'm really happy with it. Concrete slab slab is done. Tomorrow we'll take the forms off, and then I think we're gonna do like a side-by-side. Obviously we can't carry it over to the dry pour slab, but we're gonna do a side-by-side comparison on how they turned out, the finishes, and all of that good stuff. So yeah, I'm pretty happy with it. You did a really good job.
Thank you. Thanks for your help.
I'm so ready for a shower.
Yeah, same. It was sunny this morning, and then it started pouring, and now everything is just soaked and muddy. How are you feeling this morning?
Cold, tired.
We've had such pretty weather, but a cold front came in last night, and like, weren't expecting it. Weren't expecting it. Ooh, that looks nice.
The forms came off a lot easier with the wet pour. With the dry pour, we kind of had to smack them with a hammer.
All right, last form. Let's see if we can get it off without having to move it.
Nice.
Wow, she looks so nice. It looks so off level because of the base, but
Yeah, so the chicken run is not level. I wasn't really worried about that being level, but the slab is level since that's gonna have the chicken coop on it. There's still a couple things I could improve on. Overall, I'm pretty happy with it, but there is a couple spots where we got a little bit of cracking and stuff like that. A little bit of work to improve on, but not bad. It's 100% my fault, because like Summer said before, I was being a little bit of a perfectionist, so I probably should have left it alone a couple times, but I just want to keep trying to fix it, and a couple times I made it a little bit worse, so.
I think it looks really good. I think you're being hard on yourself.
Yeah, no, I think it looks good. It's just a couple spots where
Yeah, just in those few areas around the edge. But that's really it. Other than that, like, it is way smoother than the dry pour that we did over there.
yeah, but it was a lot more work too.
Yeah, it was a lot more work. Are you going out for your morning hunt? So I just wanted y'all to know that we have ourselves a real genuine mouser and snaker and bunny rabbiter. He has killed lots of things since living with us or being on this property, probably more than we have noticed. But the other night I heard something and he was like rustling around out there, so I grabbed a spotlight and he had a mouse little tail sticking out of his mouth. And then we were up at the storage building and he hunted down a bunny and ate the whole thing. So that was really fun to watch. He also killed a snake, and then the other night Cody was bringing him to show him another mouse, but he was preoccupied eating another mouse. So genuine mouser, real happy with our barn cat.
He's a killer.
He's a killer. Also, the one issue we do have with the cat is the world is his litter box. Yes, he is doing what you think he is in there right now. And the other day, I was working on my garden beds, and he came up next to me and used the restroom in my garden bed while I was sitting right there. So we are gonna have to work on that just a little bit. And back to hunting. This is a rare occasion. You have a genuine howling party. Let's go investigate. And just like all howling parties, as soon as I make it up to the house, they stop, which is why you don't always get to see them. All right, to finish this up, in comparison to our dry pour is definitely not as smooth, There's a lot more grain and pebbles and rocks, which honestly is kind of the look that I was going for up here. I wanted it to have a little bit more character. But in terms of smoothness, the wet pour that Cody did is so much smoother. Hope that helps you out in determining what you would rather do for yourself, if you'd rather do a wet pour or a dry pour, and depending on what you're doing structurally and different things like that. So yeah, all right, next video, building the chicken coop. Peace. Have a great day. Bye. Oh, like, comment, and subscribe. Okay, bye.
Such a dork.
Baby, don't you